How's it going, YouTube? I'm Michael with WriterSanctuary. Now, writing a series is a lot of fun, but you have to be careful not to overload the reader. It's quite easy to cram everything as possible into the first book. Now, today I'm sharing how I'm writing the Witcham Chronicles using a drip method. First of all, I am a plotter. That means I have the first book and the majority of the series already planned out. Well, at least for the most part, anyway. For me, it just helps keep the story straight without missing some of the details. Plus, it helps me avoid writer's block. Anyway, if I have a point that needs to be referenced in another book, I will make sure to make a note of it in the other manuscript. So a lot of times I'll leave little notes myself back and forth just so that I have continuity. Because the last thing I want to do is create a bunch of plot holes that'll create a disconnect with the audience. Not to mention that it helps me remember what the hell I'm writing. In any case, plotting the books helps me with cliffhangers, keeping the flow even throughout the series, and connecting the world as a whole. Now, secondly, I use a drip method for delivering information. Now, I don't know if this is the proper term for it, but essentially I'm dripping the information to the reader slowly throughout the entire series. I mean, like I said before, you don't want to cram too much into that first book. Now, take a look at Harry Potter, for example. You don't know anything about the Ministry of Magic until several books in. Despite that the Ministry of Magic technically exists in the first book, you don't know about it because it wasn't relevant to that particular plot. In Game of Thrones, George R.R. Martin doesn't unload the entirety of the politics in that first book. It all comes down to relevance of the story regardless of how much you fleshed out in your world. For example, I have quite a few gods that are in the Witcham series, but they're only referred to as in passing. This means I'm not explaining what every god controls and the benefits thereof with every single time that somebody mentions someone's name. Periodically, as the plot unfolds and is relevant to the story, then I start dripping out the information. And throughout the book, the people who worship those said gods exhibit certain behaviors and abilities to imply more of that god's specific power. The bottom line, if there's too much going on, you could confuse your readers to the point where they stop caring about the plot and the characters. Now, thirdly, I am looking into map-making platforms. Now, while you're writing fantasy within a large world space, having a map can work wonders. Now, when I wrote Kingmaker, I essentially was keeping everything inside my head, and I can tell you that was a mistake. So much so that I wound up spending 3 days researching the travel distance of a horse just to make sure that it could fit within a certain time frame. Without a reference of distance, it was a major pain in the ass. Needless to say, I learned my lesson. Besides, I think adding a map of the areas pertaining to each book would give it more meat, so to speak. Now, even a hand-drawn map would have been incredibly helpful during Kingmaker. And lastly, none of my books ever end with the end. Now, even the stories that I have no intention of turning into a series never end with the end. That is to say that I leave all stories somewhat open-ended. That way I can continue with the book without it seeming forced or out of left field. However, I do end the stories in a way that offers a sense of closure for that specific plot. So there can still be closure for the book, but still somewhat open-ended to where you can continue. In fact, I don't think I have ever written the words "the end" in anything I've ever created. Now, is this the best format for writing a series? Well, it is for me. Now, the best methods for writing anything are what works best for you. Every author is different. For example, a lot of successful authors aren't plotters. However, it's the method that works best for me in creating my craft. I outline just about everything from blogs to books. It doesn't mean that that's the absolute best method, only that is what's best method for me. The only thing that truly matters is whether or not you can connect your readers to your characters and plots. Aside from that, you can write the book backward if that's what's worked best for you. Now, you can try a few suggestions from authors on how to write your series. You may even incorporate some of the things they say. But at the end of the day, it comes down to you and your readers. And with that, don't forget that I have memberships available on the channel. You can click the join button below and take a look at the perks. By the way, if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button. For more videos about self-publishing, blogging, freelance writing, or anything else I cover, hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. I think it's going to do it for me today. I'm going to get back to blogging about my book, and I'll see you next time.